Normally we do this at 1 o'clock.
We'll walk deeper into the belly of the beast if it means I'm able to further limit
There's a system approaching perfection. There's a system approaching perfection.
The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans. Another day closer to victory.
Woohoo! It's the Crypto Show, and we are, like I said, a little bit early. I'm switching time with Ladar so he can do a little bit more preparation on his talk, and he'll be coming on around 1:20. And Ladar is pretty much a privacy legend. You definitely don't want to miss his talk or his workshop. So if you're not signed up for his workshop, go look at it. I think there's only 12 spots. So I don't know how many people signed up for that. But there are some plus ones. You could accompany someone else in working on the device. So he's helping people to, I don't know, alter the Googleification of your devices. Yes, 1:20. So we're going to kill some time until then. And all these guys here on stage live in Mexico and from God knows what countries. We've got one guy from England, another guy from where are you, Australia? Oh, my God, poor guy. And this guy's from Pasnia, I think, right? Pasnia, and a U.S. citizen, of course, a Texan. Awesome. So let's start with you, Jason.
All right.
How did... Why did you move to Mexico? Or why are you in Mexico?
I'm not really for institutionalized coercion.
A little closer.
Little closer. I'm not for institutionalized coercion. It's a bit annoying.
Mm-hmm. So what I kind of wanted to talk to you about is, since we don't have the other guy here and you're the only one available, tell me about Puerto Vallarta and the expats that are moving to Puerto Vallarta and some of the things that you guys got going with cryptocurrency there. Because I've been all over Mexico, and Puerto Vallarta seems to be one of the most saturated with cryptocurrency, businesses that are actually taking it or interested in taking it, and large meetups every week. Tell me about this.
So Puerto Vallarta is one of the largest communities that we have going for the freedom cells in Mexico. It's full of refugees from around the world when their governments kind of cut them off and told them, take the jab or you can't do anything in society anymore. These people were kind of left out in the cold on visas, and they didn't know where to go to, and they found the cheapest place to move to, and it turned out to be Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, where there were a lot more expats in the area. And we got roughly about 450 members in our private group right now that are in and out of Puerto Vallarta a lot. They travel around Mexico a little bit. We have nightly meetups. We do everything just about every night. Our weekly meetups for families, they run about 80 strong with 25 to 40% new faces week after week. And people are really excited about the area. And because we go to these businesses in such large numbers, they have been more admittable to accepting cryptocurrencies. So as we're going there, we're getting hotels, vape stores, not tons of restaurants accepting crypto more and more. And then the servers are now starting to ask for crypto. They really do like the Bitcoin through the Lightning Network, preferably, but we also talk a lot about Monero. We really appreciate that, and it's really growing fast there.
One of the other things that goes on there, I spent a few weeks there hanging out with everybody, and there's this whole COVID thing where the anti-mask movement in Puerto Vallarta is kind of aggressive.
Yeah, a lot of these refugees are suffering from PTSD. They're being attacked by their governments, their communities back home. They're seeing this stuff. They're inundated with all this data, all this information from left-wing media, and they feel really, really attacked. So they're putting up a strong defensive posture, and a lot of times they get a little angry, and it comes out aggressively at times. And then there's also a more positive side of it as well, as many of us are going out into the community and building good experiences with people who are pro-vax, and we're just hearing them out and hearing what they have to say with giving them no feedback from what they have to say, just trying to understand where they're coming from, so they understand we're not vexed, and we're just listening to their concerns and their needs, and they start to feel a little bit better about integrating with us again.
You guys have an idea of some sort of a community center, kind of an intake. What is this about?
So right now we're building a community den that we're trying to raise money for in-house. We're not trying to reach out to the rest of the world. We're trying to do it in-house within our community to kind of build a landing point for expats who come into town. They can come in and meet us. Safe place for children to go and learn alongside of their parents as they work in their own private offices, and just a stopping point for all the people who are alienated by the servile society.
It's been pretty interesting. I've seen some of the meetups that they're like hundreds. Like what size is the biggest meetups you guys have had there?
Right now, we've only ran into about 120 tickets at our when we meet up in Bucerias, which is right on the beach location. Families sprawl out everywhere. There was probably a few more people, but that was 120 tickets. So that includes their families and partners and whatever else and stuff like that. And that also coincided with the Cellulitis super spreader. So we had some of those come in and visit with the people, and they never left.
What's a cellulitis super spreader?
Cellulitis super spreader was an event that was thrown by one of the locals in our group, and he put a whole bunch of people on a panel of podcasts and brought them out there, and a bunch of people showed up who are anarchists and kind of just stayed in Puerto Vallarta and never went away.
So you're super spreading freedom, or at least the idea of freedom around Puerto Vallarta. That's what are the downsides of having, like, anytime you have these anarchist communities, you get different personalities and conflicts. What's been your experience with the conflicts in this?
My experience with the conflicts is a lot of the downside is circulating negativity, negative news, focusing on that, what triggers you most. And that kind of puts you in a hyper-aware state where you're always on attack instead of building good experiences, as well as crusading. So say something, you see a right and wrong, and you're just crusading against that wrong. And you're constantly fighting against that person that's wrong instead of, you're drawing that hard line and you're pushing them out, boxing them out of the community and stuff like that. And that starts to lead to a lot of agitation within the community itself. So what I would try to do is soften the lines a little bit and try to be a little bit more understand the wrong perception, try to understand what we like, and if it's so wrong that we can't handle it, we say, okay, behavior has to change, and then we can open up our doors just a little bit to let you back in and talk to us again and communicate. But sometimes people get out of hand, and it happens in every society everywhere. So.
Right. And what about, like, reaching out to the locals? What are you guys doing to kind of integrate in with the local community to spread your message to them, to let them know what you're actually about?
So the local community, a lot of time, Josh is really, really active in this. He goes storefront to storefront talking to a lot of different businesses and gets to know the owners, the employees, gets them excited about cryptocurrency, and they push as much as he can to introduce himself and say, hi, we're here. We want to spend our money at your location. We only have a few things that we can't do. We can't accept the vaccine passport, and we really, really, really don't want to wear the masks. And a lot of times that leaves us out of corporations, but all the small businesses are completely open to us. And it's a really rare occasion when a small business wants to force a mandate on you.
Yeah, if you don't know, recently there was a mandate, I guess, or they issued a mandate and told all the businesses that they had to show vaccine passports in Puerto Vallarta. And everybody, you guys pushed back, and a lot of people pushed back. They even told, I think the president of Jalisco said, yeah, New Year's Eve, it's closed. We're not going to have that. Yeah. So they had a big TV down there with, down on the Malecon, and this giant screen with the president up there and the whole city of Puerto Vallarta saying, fuck you! They're just partying their ass off down on the Malecon. So I thought that was pretty cool. I think Josh did a video about that, and it showed all the people down there. That was pretty inspiring. So it's glad, good to see that the businesses are fighting back and pushing back against this a little bit, and that you guys are there to say, hey, we support you. We're going to come and spend our money in your stores and support that you
Absolutely.
fight back.
Yeah. What we did was we supported the businesses that stayed open through the lockdown. First of all, second of all, we support businesses regularly who accept cryptocurrency, and then third of all, when we get on our family meetup day on Sundays, we go out in some groups and we go out to the places that were expressing the vaccine mandate, saying you can't come in. So we just went in, politely introduced ourselves, and asked, let us know when we can come back. And we made a very positive experience about it. Their staff started seeing a lot of people go in there and started getting frustrated. The owners were getting frustrated because they weren't getting money. And the managers were like, I don't know what to do because I'm turning away too much business here. So we've wiped out most of the vaccine mandate around Puerto Vallarta, other than just like maybe one or two stragglers left that I'm aware of.
Places you didn't want to go anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to Scott. Thanks.
Absolutely.
So this is Jason Henza. If you guys didn't know this, he's hell of a target. One hell of a target.
Just on that, I mean, was that the only place in Mexico that was like that? Because I lived in Cancun, Playa. I mean, that sounds pretty fucked up. Like,
actually, Puerto Vallarta is one of the more free. Like, people are
I don't
pushing
believe
back
that. I
against.
can't believe that because
when I was there, it was not very many people were really pushing on the mask.
Vaccine mandate? No, but you've got to show a vaccine card to go to a restaurant. I've not experienced that anywhere else in Mexico.
Yeah, that didn't work. So, didn't work.
No, of course not.
So, anyway, Scott is from Australia.
Yes, I was dropped in Australia. Yes, I was.
So, ex-prisoner, huh?
Yeah. My mum dropped me in Australia. I'm a thief. Yep. Penal colony. I'm a big penal guy.
Yeah.
Apparently. I've had a few tequilas, by the way, so I don't know how this is going to go. Excuse me.
So, Scott, you're living in Cabo area now?
I'm living in Cabo now. I lived in Playa del Carmen for 6 years as well. So,
tell me about your experiences with the cartel. I mean, there's all kinds of different cartels, and I know, like, I travel all over Mexico, and Baja seems to be the least, pressure from being extorted. Like, you can freely travel all over Baja. There's no toll roads. There's no cops standing on every corner. Other than there's a few stop signs in La Paz you got to watch out for. But other than that, it's pretty free travel. You don't have to have a permit to take your car from the U.S. if you're like a permanent resident. There's all kinds of things that are much freer about Baja.
Yes, I mean, most of that is true. So living in Playa del Carmen and living in Cabo, completely different. You're right. Like, even last night, taking the taxi from the Princess down to here, you go through the, whatever it's called, the security and the guys with the fucking guns and all that shit. Like, they have that in Playa, driving down the road. There's none of that in Cabo. And I think the reason for that, 6 or 7 years ago, Cabo was a real hot spot. And the problem is, I think, is when you get too many cartels trying to be in charge, and they sorted all of that out, so just one, right? So, Playa has become a lot worse. Playa is probably a bigger crypto community, and I think the thing with Cabo, for me, it's probably the highest standard of living in Mexico. Right? I'm a bit of a posh twat, right? So I like nice restaurants, nice landscaping, nice houses. It's nice, and there's a lot of money in Cabo. So a lot of gringos, a lot of Americans, a lot of Canadians, whereas the other side, Playa, a lot of Colombians, Venezuelans, guys on skateboards, guys with their girlfriend on the bicycle going for a date. A lot of money in Cabo. So they know that. So I think they make a real effort, and Americans being as scared as they are as a species, if there's anything that goes down, they're just going to fuck off, right? So, and not come there, and they're well aware of that. And even small things, like on the beaches, they got the recycling bins, and they seem to have their shit together a lot more. For me, it's kind of like living in LA without the dickheads,
Yeah.
If you know what I mean, right? So it's cool, right? And everybody just does their own thing. Everybody's like-minded, I'm of the same mindset of all of you guys as far as, fuck the government, fight everybody, blah, blah, blah. I'm a bit tired, Danny, I've been doing this shit for a long time, and it becomes a bit tiresome. So I'm kind of just want to live in a nice place, do my own shit. I believe what I believe, couple of tequilas, I'll get into a debate with you about everything, no problems. But for me, it's and the weather's amazing. I like to play golf and just, make my money and do my thing. And so I think that Cabo is just, it's probably just because of the higher standards that they're really more careful about it. I did have an experience with the cartel just a couple of weeks ago, which was a complete shock. Some guy pulled a gun on me in the car park. So it happens, you got to remember where you are, right? So I had another buddy, dropped his, he went to do some shopping at the Chedraui or wherever, and the guys are washing the car, and he come back. He had the big Suburban. He's a rich guy that lives in one of the things, and a girl popped up from the back seat with a gun in the head, took him to the ATM and robbed him. So, but, the everyday extortion like I experienced over in Playa and in Cancun was, the cops would just swarm around you like vultures, get the money, and they're off. And but yeah, I love Cabo, man. I love it.
Yeah, I had kind of the same thing in Guadalajara happen to me because I have American plates, and I was camped out in Guadalajara before I came here for a couple of weeks, and like they would literally just set up shop outside of my hotel and wait for me because they knew that I didn't have current license plate, or I had the current license plate, but I didn't have the temporary import permit, and they knew that.
But the difference between Canada, Australia, and Mexico is it's in the open, right? This is the thing. People, it's so corrupt down there. It's fucking corrupt everywhere, right? Here it's just in the open. How do you think the people, the construction companies get the contracts to build the new park or the whatever, the new buildings? It's all. How do you go into politics at a $80,000 a year level and come out worth fucking $50 million, right? So that's the thing. So, I mean, in Australia and Canada, they used to go around and chalk your tires in the car park of the local pub, right? So as you're driving home drunk, they see you. So they extort you, right, on behalf of the government. So it's the same shit. And that's actually one of the things I love about Mexico is if you got a little bit of cash, you can just pay your way out of anything almost. Yeah. Which I like.
Yeah, that is definitely good.
Really,
I mean,
honestly.
They were going to take my truck and impound it, and we just had to negotiate the price, which ended up being 5,000 pesos. So,
I was at the Cancun airport a couple of years ago. I came back down. My guitar didn't turn up. I had a recording session the next day. American Airlines. Where's my guitar? Where's my guitar? Where's my guitar? Come back to the airport, American Airlines. So I come back and I parked in an area that I shouldn't have. And anyway, I was in there for a couple of hours, and I come out, and they're just loading my car onto the tow truck. And I'm like, oh, fucking hell, right? Okay. And they had another car already up there, and the policeman, oh, you must come with us. So they drove us around a corner to the police station, and tow truck driver's out there. I said to the cop, look, how much is this? How much is the ticket? No, you speak to the tow truck driver. So he was working on behalf of the police. And eventually it went from, they try the scare tactics first. We're going to import your car. It's going to be there for a week. All the bullshit you got to go through. And then you're like, how much? I think it was like $150 or something, Not to the police. You pay the tow truck driver. I tried to negotiate. He wasn't having it. He had all the leverage. My car was on his truck. I was like, come on, dude, I'll give you $50. 150. I'll give you 100. 150. Yeah. So $150. Car came down. And you can't do that in Australia or Canada or wherever, Right. I like it. It's good.
I was building houses in Puebla after the earthquake several years ago, and the guy from the city, the mayor, they called him the president. He comes around. He goes, hey, these other guys around here, they have to have a lot of paperwork and permits and stuff. We could use a little help over here rebuilding the DIF, which is the community center. So I got roped into, doing all the repairs on the building for the community center, and then I had like ultimate power. I could just go around and tell all the other contractors, hey, you need to do this and you need to do that.
It may sound like we're talking about the bad shit of living in Mexico, but we're actually talking about the good stuff of living in Mexico. And, this talk is about expats living in Mexico, I guess, right? So for me, it's just, I love it. I really love it. If you would have asked me 10 years ago, like in 10 years where you will be living, Mexico was not even on my radar. But especially through like these COVID times and everything, like when I speak to my friends or people from around the world, Mexico has been pretty cool through all of it. There was a 2 or 3 month period when it all first kicked off where the roads were empty and the bars were shut and the restaurants were shut. But besides that, you know, people are just like you said, fuck it, right? We're dealing. We need to live. They don't have welfare here, you know. If they don't make money, they die, right? It's that simple. So, and it's one of the things I love about here, and the attitude of the people. The people are amazing, and it really is just a great place to live.
The COVID lockdowns didn't fully work here because of that. When I was in Puerto Vallarta, I took a cab, and the guy's telling me, "Yeah, I'm a single father. I got three girls." And when COVID happened and there was no tourism, all we had was tortillas. Like that's the only safety net that the Mexican government gave to them was, you know, so many packs of tortillas each week.
No $1,200 a fucking fortnight.
No, yeah, their stimmies were tortillas. So he said that's all we ate was tortillas and salt. I'm like, God.
And I think that's the difference, you know. It's the entitlement, the sense of entitlement. Especially Australians and in America as well, you know, is my entitled fucking welfare check, and I'm entitled to this healthcare, and entitled. A lot of people ask me the question. See, look, here I go, one tequila and I'm fucking off. It's the sense of entitlement. You know what I mean?
think this man is entitled to another tequila. Where's the bartender?
Woman, bring me one more, please. Woman, hey, one more. No, but this will be the last thing I say on it. But it's this. There she goes, like a good woman. Thank you. It's. Oh God, I love her.
Don't worry, they're friends. He's not a misogynist.
We are friends. No, I don't know her. I don't know. She was assigned to me. No, she's a good friend of mine. But it's the sense of entitlement. You know, I'm entitled to the welfare and my entitlement, and the government works for me. And in Mexico, you just don't get that. People do what they got to do. They laugh, have a good time. They're basic. And it's just awesome. It really is awesome.
Awesome. Well, let's talk with Chris then. So I know Chris for quite a while. He's a crypto geek from Austin, Texas. And then so you ended up in Guadalajara. Why?
One of my friends was living in Guadalajara, and he said it was great. And I visited, and I was like, wow, this weather's amazing. The people are awesome. You know, the food is great. It has a very strong Mexican culture, and that's what I wanted. I wanted a place where I could go and not run into too many people that knew English, because I wanted to learn Spanish. And so if you're always hanging around in the touristy places, then everybody's trying to speak it to you in English, and so it's really hard to learn Spanish. It's just it was kind of almost just kind of like somewhere that I ended up. You know, because it was the first place that I lived in Mexico, and I was like, hey, this is great. You know, this is much better than Texas. You know, it's basically everything that you would get in Texas for like a third the cost. Now, that's not to. I don't want to sugarcoat things. Like you do have to take certain responsibilities in Mexico that you wouldn't necessarily have to take in the U.S. You know, everything has a little bit more friction. The more you learn Spanish, I definitely highly recommend if anybody wants to move to Mexico that you learn Spanish. You know, because that makes things much easier. You know, I want to caution against people just you know flooding into Mexico and expecting to be able to you know break the rules without any repercussions. I mean, yeah, you guys got hassled by the police, but I mean, you were breaking the laws, you know. So I mean, that's what happens, you know. If you're breaking the law in front of a cop, he's going to come over and say something about it. So I mean, I know this is not a not a message that a lot of anarchists want to hear, but you know, if you want to have a really easy time in Mexico, just fucking learn what the rules are and follow them. It's not that hard. Now. And learn Spanish, and just, you know, don't be disrespectful, you know, like know where you are, know what the people around you are you know, learn the culture, you know, and you know, maybe don't you know totally, you know, just become part of the culture, but you know, at least just respect it, you know that it's been there for probably hundreds or thousands of years, and just be respectful of the people there and follow their rules. And as these guys were saying, you know, every part of Mexico is different. You know, there is a part of Mexico for everyone that has, you know, there's parts that have, you know, tons of rules, you know, that are this way, and tons of rules that are that way. There are places in Mexico, like in Guerrero, like where we are, where there don't seem to be. There's basically just guidelines, right? There's like, okay, you know, like follow this rule if you want, you know, and you know, and some people like that, and you know, so you know, just find some place that fits with what you want to do. And go there, and then do it, you know. So,
Yeah, you mentioned the weather in that area. It's supposed to be eternal spring. It's I guess it's equal to Medellin in Colombia.
Yeah, it's very. It reminds me of like California or the Mediterranean weather. Actually, in a lot of ways, it's even better than that. You know, it's not super humid. It's not super hot in the summer, although it does get. Correct. Yeah, it gets down to like the 40s. You know, in the middle of the night in February. You know, and then in May and June it's pretty hot. But then the rest of the summer and into the fall, there's the rainy season, and that cools everything off. So it's nice.
Yeah, I stay there several months a year in the Lake Chapala area, and it's the weather is fabulous when I'm there, so I have no complaints about that. I don't recommend Ajijic if you don't want to be around gringos, but
that's true. There's a lot of gringos, a lot of hippie retired gringos in Chapala.
Yeah, very liberal too. On top of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's different too. In Baja, you don't see. It's like the Mexican culture is watered down a little bit in Baja. It's not there's not as much. I don't know what you. Mexicanness in Baja as you would get
exactly.
here in
There's
the
a lot
mainland,
of sort of international influence in a lot of these touristy places, and if that's what you like, you know, then you can totally go and aprovechar. You can go take advantage of that. But yeah, there are places that have a very strong, you know, Mexican culture or indigenous culture, and those places have their own magic.
So Guadalajara is considered to be like the Silicon Valley of Mexico. What's going on there all the time, tech-wise?
Well, so the government of Jalisco has made this like a part of their agenda that they want, they want to be a tech hub, and so they've actually put, I think they put a significant amount of funding towards. They have an event called Talent Land that happens every year.
Talent Land is like one of the biggest tech conferences in the world, actually.
Yeah, and that's put on by the Jalisco government, as far as I know, in cooperation with the Guadalajara government, I'm sure. And yeah, there's just a lot of investment going on in tech companies there, and it's not it's not as it doesn't have quite the reputation as a place like the Bay Area or Austin or something like that, but it is sort of up and coming, and programming is something that anybody who comes from any culture and any language can do. The programming languages tend to be in English. The code, the actual like keywords tend to be in English, but there's plenty of people in the Spanish-speaking world that are super awesome hackers, and companies are discovering that they can hire these guys because their cost of living is so much lower that they can hire these guys for for way cheaper than they would hire somebody in San Francisco or Austin. So I mean, if you're a tech company right now, that's a smart move.
Yeah. Have you attended Talent Land?
Kind of tangentially. I hung out outside of it, but I didn't go in. But it's a big event. I mean, it's
presented there
tens
before
of thousands of
with,
people.
Some Dash guys, and it was one of the biggest places I had seen. And they have like agriculture land, tech land, crypto land. All these different lands where you go, and there's like 50,000 people are attending this thing. And they bring in all these schools, a lot of kids from high school and elementary to come and attend, and they're set up hacking. They give them opportunity to hack on this and hack on that, and it was just a great experience to see all those kids being exposed to this stuff. And we shared a lot of crypto ideas with the kids and got them working on different things. One of the guys that's actually been at this conference speaking multiple times runs the crypto portion of his. Jose Rodriguez, who used to work with Bitso. So that's definitely a great one. If you want to check out a cool conference in Mexico, Talent Land is definitely a good one to check out. What about like your price of living and internet and stuff like that in Guadalajara?
So I pay for the fancy internet. It's 200 megabits per second. It costs me 1,300 pesos a month, which is like $65, yeah, $70. It varies, but yeah, and it's great. I mean, okay, actually, so it's fiber, and every like 6 months or so, it'll just like stop working, and this is because they do this crazy thing where they run the fiber optic cables along the streets and then like up to your roof, and for some reason like people are constantly having this done, and it'll disrupt the other people's fiber optic cables, and so every like 6 months or so, my internet will just break. Not sure why, but usually they have I'll get on the phone and I'll be like, "Hey, my internet broke," and they'll come in the next like day and put it back together. So It's a little bit less reliable than what you would have in the States. Although I've heard some horror stories there, but it's definitely worth the cost. I mean, it's very cheap. I mean, you can get a super nice place for very cheap for for like U.S. standards or Europe standards. But you can get a place in like the middle of the sort of Chapultepec area, which is like the main like hangout.
Where that fancy mall was?
No, that's actually a different place. But yeah. But all over, like if you want to get like a nice apartment, you're not going to pay more. If you're paying more than about $1,000 a month, you're overpaying. But the same apartment in like Miami or Chicago or the Bay Area would be like $5,000 a month or $10,000 a month, something like that. So I mean, I'm just like, why? Why do people do that? What are you getting in the Bay Area that you can't get in Mexico? I mean,
AIDS. I don't know.
Good point.
It's the only thing. Nancy Pelosi, I don't know.
Yeah.
No.
One more tequila for him, please.
Yeah. All right, let's talk with Rob.
Gracias.
Howdy, Rob. So,
Hello.
Rob is new to all this. I guess he's been following Jeff for a while, but this is his first time at Anarchapulco, and he created the song Pirate Train. Arr, arr. Anyway, so tell us your experience. You left England for Vietnam, and then you came to Mexico. Tell me about this.
Yeah, December 2019, I had this strong desire to travel. And so I was like, I sold, like my business and my car and most of my musical instruments, actually. Because I'd met some guys in Thailand a year or two before, and I was saying to them, I've got this idea that I'm going to start traveling to. And they said, well, we're in Saigon, and it's pretty cool there, and we know most of the bar owners, so we can get you some gigs. And so I ended up going there, and lo and behold, it was just before the whole thing kicked off, the whole pandemic. So I was like, whoa, I'm here now. I managed to escape England, felt like I had a little angel on my shoulder saying, get the hell out of here. But then, of course, it's all started getting a bit heavy in Vietnam, and I'd always wanted to come to Mexico, like for the last 20 years, really, and not got here. So I just threw caution to the wind, and they only wanted a temperature check to enter into the country. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. And wow, I've had such a trip here since getting here, and been to quite a few different places because I wanted to see, so Guadalajara, Mexico City, San Cristobal, Oaxaca. Puerto Vallarta was the place that I first got to. And yeah, just riding the wave, and I love it, man. Yeah.
So you're living now here in Acapulco?
Yeah, Acapulco actually has been the place that I've been in the longest. Partially because I knew the festival was coming up, but I do want to explore other areas. Cabo I heard is really cool. You're talking about that earlier, and there's a couple other places. Definitely, and I really liked Oaxaca, and I didn't get to Puerto Escondido either. I'm not all about the beaches, but would it be nice to just check it out? But I'm teaching guitar online now. I'm chasing that dream as a digital nomad, so I need to be somewhere with good internet, and I heard it wasn't so good there. It might drop out every now and again, so I've been trying to stick with the places that have the really good internet.
So are you able to have a living and everything, just doing the online?
I'm building up the business, because initially I went out to Vietnam and I was getting gigs, and the scene over there is quite well paid. You'll be getting $150, $200 a gig. You'll be getting 2 of those every weekend, sometimes 1 in the week. So, you're getting by. But the scene over here is not quite the same. You don't get that kind of money. And the gigs are like, I don't know. There seems to be a lot of local musicians that will just go and do the gig, and they're happy with 500 pesos or something. Yeah. So Cabo, okay. So I've got to go to Cabo next because he's saying I'm going to get $300 a gig. So there you go. Yeah, that's where I'm going next then.
You'll like it. Yeah, Cabo's.
I'm going to talk to you in a bit, man.
So what's it been like dealing with crypto here? I mean, that's helped you a little bit. In what ways has it helped you?
Well, I'm still consider myself a baby when it comes to crypto, but one of the things I'm trying to get my head around is the NFTs, and along with the pirate train thing, obviously it was a real pleasure to do a music video with Jeff and Lucy. And then I thought, well, why not make some NFTs for this project? Just because to me, it's like a once in a lifetime NFT for, you know, this song, which people people have taken to their hearts. And so we'll see what happens. There's a couple going up later on this afternoon for auction. Lucy's Legends Ship 1 and Ship 2. Crypto, you know, I've got a little bit of Pirate Chain. I wish I had a lot more. And I got a little bit of Darrow. I wish I had a lot more, but I'm working on it, you know, and it's all like still totally like a learning curve for me, coming away and just being immersed into a situation where you've got to survive, and you know you got to make your own way. It's a kind of like a scary and beautiful thing at the same time. But I'm really I think I'm up for the challenge, and it's just been, as I say, the dream of doing it, and the fact that my song Mexico, I literally landed in Puerto Vallarta, and like it was that feeling of like I've finally in Mexico. I wanted to come here for many years. I'm a big fan of an author called Carlos Castaneda, who wrote many books of his experiences with the shamans here, and so it was like that feeling of whoa, I'm here now, and I managed to encapsulate that in a song, and so it still feels like a dream. Yeah,
I'm not even sure what time it is, and I was supposed to mention that at 1 o'clock they were going to have NFT instructions over here at the pavilion, or so I don't know. What time is it? Okay, it's 1 o'clock. So if anybody wants to learn how to create NFTs or learn what they are, use IPFS, any of those things, then definitely go over here to the pavilion where the NFT Volition Labs area is, and one of the divs.io guys is actually going to be helping out, teaching that stuff too as well. So if you need any of those instructions or just want to know what it is, definitely head over there and talk to Elle and Vivek about getting that done. Yeah, do you guys have any questions for it? What's your...
I wondered if any of the panel have any experience of trying to get residency or any advice?
Yeah, so there's 3 ways. One, so you get your tourist visa, which is 6 months, which can be renewed every 6 months. Certain places of Mexico are cracking down on that, but there's ways. Temporary residency is 4 years. And then after that, you get permanent residency. So the usual way is you got to apply in your own country, go through the embassy, the consulate, blah, 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 blah. But there's also a bit of a loophole where if you come in on a 6-month visa and overstay, there are ways to get your permanent residency without leaving the country. So I can discuss that with you later if you're seriously interested. I don't know. Anybody else got any comments on that?
Yeah, anybody have any other questions about expatriating to Mexico, wanting to know anything about crypto in Mexico, or? No? No? Okay. Let's pass the mic over here. This is Mike Healy with divs.io, and he lives here in Acapulco. So tell me, what has it been like expatriating to Acapulco, and where did you come from?
Okay, well, it was a long story. My story here is very interesting, but I'm originally from the States, Las Vegas, born and raised, and then moved to San Diego for a little bit. Been living here for 3 years. I just go to get my tourist visa and come back. As of this week, I'm actually going to be getting my temporary residency for 4 years, and immediately you can get permanent after that, so I'm going to start that journey. 3 years a little late, but I'm starting it. And you know, it's been interesting here living. I came down with quote-unquote business adventure, and adventure it was, and basically ended up here driving all the way down from Texas, seeing a lot of Mexico, a lot of beautiful small little towns, little culture along the way, and was living with someone, went broke with that guy, and broke away from that guy.
So that was a good business decision there, right?
You know, some business decisions don't work out, you know. But I take all my own responsibilities in life and understand that was my fault and my decision. But I ended up in this beautiful, beautiful place. I met a beautiful woman for 2.5 years now together here, so can't complain. And, yeah, went broke for a while, had a normal Mexican job. I made $100 a week. That was it. I was living on 70 pesos a day. You know, was sleeping in a hammock with only a bag of clothes, and that was it.
You're free to warn anyone if you want about that other project, if you'd like. I don't care.
I don't want to shame anyone else, but you know what I mean. And had a bad business adventure. It started back from nothing, literally. I mean, I had nothing. And started working, had a small job, $100 a week, and the pandemic happened. This place was a ghost town. I mean, places where I'd always seen cars parked, there was not cars parked anymore. And everything was silent. My job was gone. And I had nothing. That was the lowest point in my entire life, was living here. But you know what? I had an idea. And I had willpower to do something. And I wanted to put that idea to work. And I went to work. I actually had to go back to the United States, live with my parents, got back on my feet, but I pursued this idea of divs.io and brought it to life and was able to come back to Mexico, come back to my girlfriend after 6 months. It was really hard to be away. But, you know, now it's definitely been a little bit easier, but I have the utmost respect for this country and these people because what they do here is not easy. And trust me, underneath this sun, it's really hard. So, like he was saying, it's all about culture and respecting the people and respecting their environment because I think a lot of us, especially if you can afford to pay for this conference, you're pretty well off compared to most, you know. So just be thankful and respectful because this is a beautiful place and there's beautiful people and me and Dan.
You actually have a customer. He's actually a user of his platform, and he had told me one day, "Oh, I just use divs." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I know that project. I met that guy the other day." So
yeah, I met Henza I think almost 3 years ago now. I think so. Henza's been living here consistently, and you know he can say a lot of good stories too and a lot of good stuff here. Enjoy it. I know there's always someone that stays. You know, please stay. And every year I feel like the community gets a little bit stronger, but we've got to stay together as community. And that's what I was talking about with someone else today is that we got to really get back together and start working together and stop breaking apart so much. Yeah. You know, we got to really come back together and do some good work, man, because our work's not finished ever.
Okay, you want to do what now?
No, yeah, I just want to say that's an awesome story, bro. And I've been in that position a few times myself. Broke, rich, fucking bankrupted, complete. And that's the real deal, you know, like get up and go to work, right? Find something to do. Feel sorry for yourself for a few days, whatever. I mean, I was in Dubai 15 years ago, multi-millionaire, left with about fucking $20 in my pocket. Start it again. Get up, go to work. And this was my thing in my talk today about all those people on the Telegram groups posting fucking links and shit. Just, if you're not happy, move, leave. You don't need anything. Really, you don't need anything. You know, we have you guys out there in particular, and you guys watching out there, you got more than what you actually realize. You know, and that was a big thing I picked up on during the pandemic as well, is, like we just said before, there's no welfare, there's no fucking handouts here, man. Right? There's nothing. So you got more than most people in the world. So don't just sit there on a Telegram and whinge and fucking moan and spread shit. You know, we all know Justin Trudeau's fucked, and we know that everybody's fucked, right? We know that. Why do you have to keep reposting it? Starve the beast, move, you don't need anything, and this is the place to do it, I think.
And pay your taxes.
Fuck that, I haven't paid taxes in 35 years, fuck you.
Okay. Yeah, we've got Ladar coming up. Is anybody else have any questions about Mexico or crypto or any of that? All right. Definitely go check out the NFT thing. We've got the orphans coming over here later on to do a show. I've got to talk about shit coins later because I'm actually kind of full of shit. Also, you know, I want to pimp my thanks. Chris Guida from Start 9, Scott Sorensen, he's the ninja trader. Jason is just a really good target, and then we've got Mike from divs.io, and my YouTube is An RV Adventure. I just drive around Mexico, drink beer, have fun, playing waterfalls, and volcanoes, and whatever the fuck else I can find to do, because crypto lets me fucking do it. So, yeah. And, well, of course, Jonna makes that happen too. She goes with me and makes all that good stuff happen. We have a blast just traveling around and experiencing Mexico and the U.S. Also, the Crypto Show. Follow us on YouTube there, and find out at 2:30 what shitcoins are. Here you go, Ernie.
We'll get to Ladar as soon as he's ready.